Arne Johnson was a man who claimed he killed under the influence of the devil. He was the first person in American history to use demonic possession as a defense for murder. He was the subject of a sensational trial that captivated the nation and the world. Arne Johnson was born in 1962 in Connecticut. He grew up in a working-class family and had a normal childhood. He met his girlfriend, Debbie Glatzel, when he was 16, and they fell in love. They planned to get married and start a family, but their dreams were shattered by a series of terrifying events that changed their lives forever. It all started when they moved into a rental house in Brookfield. Debbie's brother, David, who was 11 at the time, said he saw an old man in the house who threatened him and told him to leave. He started to act strange. He would have nightmares, he would scream, he would scratch himself. He said the old man turned into a beast and that he wanted to take his soul. The Glatzel family contacted paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren, who said David was under a demonic attack. He had 43 demons inside him, and they were trying to kill him. They performed several exorcisms on him and called the Catholic Church for a formal exorcism. But the demons were very strong. They would speak through David, and they would mock and curse the exorcists. They would also attack anyone who was close to him, especially Arne. Arne Johnson was very fond of David, and he wanted to protect him from the demons. He would stay with him and comfort him and pray with him. He would also challenge the demons and tell them to leave David alone. He would say things like, "Take me instead, you cowards. Leave the kid alone." He thought he was doing the right thing, but he was making a fatal mistake. Arne Johnson was possessed by the most powerful demon of all, the devil himself. He was the one who controlled the other demons, and he was the one who wanted to destroy Arne. He was the one who made him do it. On February 16, 1981, Arne Johnson killed his landlord, Alan Bono, in a brutal stabbing. It was the first and only murder in the history of Brookfield, a quiet and peaceful town. It was also a shocking and inexplicable crime that had no apparent motive or reason. Arne Johnson was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. He pleaded not guilty and he said he had no memory of the incident. He said he was possessed by the devil and that he was not responsible for his actions. He said he was a victim, not a killer. Arne Johnson's trial was a media sensation. It was the first time in American history that a defense lawyer used demonic possession as a defense for murder. It was also a controversial and divisive case that raised questions about the existence of the supernatural, the role of the church, and the nature of evil. The prosecution had a strong case based on the evidence and the witnesses. They had the knife, the blood, the motive, and the confession. They didn't buy his story of possession, and they thought it was a desperate and ridiculous attempt to escape justice. The defense had a weak case based on the facts and the law. They had no physical or mental evidence to prove that Arne was possessed, and they had no legal precedent to support their claim. They knew it was a long shot, and they knew it was a gamble. But they believed in Arne, and they believed in the truth. The experts had different opinions on what happened to Arne. Some diagnosed him with dissociative identity disorder or multiple personality disorder. They said he had a split personality and that he acted under the influence of an alter ego, who he called the devil. Others testified that he was indeed possessed by the devil and that he acted under the power of evil. The public had a mixed and divided opinion on what happened to Arne. Some believed him and some didn't. Some supported him and some condemned him. Some were fascinated by him and some were afraid of him. He was a mystery and a controversy and a sensation. On November 24, 1981, after 15 hours of deliberation, the jury reached a verdict. They found Arne Johnson guilty of first-degree manslaughter, a lesser charge than murder. They rejected his claim of possession, and they held him accountable for his crime. He was sentenced to 10 to 20 years in prison, but he served only 5 years for good behavior. Arne Johnson was released from prison in 1986. He married Debbie Glatzel, and they had 2 children. He worked as a landscaper, and he stayed out of trouble. He never spoke publicly about his case again, and he tried to move on with his life, but he never forgot what happened to him, and he never escaped his past. Arne Johnson is still alive today, living in Connecticut. He is 59 years old, and he is a grandfather. He is a survivor, and he is a legend. He is the man who said the devil made him do it, and he is the man who lived to tell the tale.